Hello and welcome to the very first Hauger History podcast of the 2019 fall semester. I am Mr. Hauger and we're talking about world history today. Hope you're doing very well wherever you're listening from. And this is intended for my sophomore students, so anyone can listen, who are studying the reasons why early and ancient empires rise and fall. I'm going to be right to the point today. I'm going to ask my students about 3 specific empires, give 2 amazing accomplishments or milestones that they achieved, and then 2 reasons. I'll use the other hand for effect. What an effect. 2 reasons why the empire fell. So first, I want to talk some generalities about reasons that archaeologists discover when they study history about why these populations flourished and then fell out. Some of the reasons generally for the loss of civilization might be uncontrollable population movement, people moving rapidly one place to another, new epidemic diseases like the bubonic plague or the Black Death that killed a huge fraction of Europe, about half the people in some countries like France. So failing states leading to increased warfare, right? If the government loses control and there's too much fighting, there's no stability. The collapse of trade routes leading to famine because you can't eat, you can't drink, and climate-related changes to some Inuit cultures as well. The first culture I want to focus on is one of our 3 is the Han. The Han existed from 206 BCE to about 220 CE. Add those 2 together because they're on the other sides of timelines, and you have about 426 years of experience in that time. Lots of great achievements. Here are some. One of the most important inventions to our world today is paper. I have a lot of it in that corner. I got to try to go more digital, I promise. They grinded plant fibers into a paste, dried it in sheets, and that became paper, which became books. So you could say paper or books, but both I wouldn't count because that's roughly the same thing. In farming, they invented the iron plow and the wheelbarrow, which made agriculture a lot easier and increased the numbers of crops that could be yielded. With the iron plow, farmers could also till more land, so the utilization of more land, and that changed the world as well. In science, they created a seismograph to measure earthquakes. That's amazing that they were doing that 1,800 years ago. And they also made advances to health to cure diseases like acupuncture for relieving pain. They also invented the compass, the sundial, the watermill, and the rudder of a ship for easier transportation and navigation. That's a lot of achievements. I would like you to know 2 of those things. The Han Dynasty fell because landholders and the elite held all the power. There was no balance in society. You need the balance of society. And also disease started to ravage a lot of different people. Political infighting and corruption in government also created instability. Government bribery was a big problem. Power was in the hands of local landowners, and that decentralized power, and that enabled government to have a very difficult time to try to operate. And because there was no centralized power, China was vulnerable. Only the wealthy could gain political position, so that left too many people struggling, and it created a toppling effect of society. No 2 of those things. I talked about society, politics, and a combination of political positions, which is also politics. The Roman Empire is the next empire that we studied in our class, and this is a synopsis to catch you up in case I talked too quickly in class, which is quite the possibility. The Roman Empire lasted from 27 BC to 476 AD, over 500 years of success. In accomplishments, I'm going to cover 5 categories. Remember, you only need 2 specifics, but be specific. In government, there was the importance of written laws, representation, equal treatment for all citizens, and the rights and duties of citizens to obey their government. Some of those things still endear to our societies today. In engineering, they built excellent, durable roads that could withstand transportation over a long amount of time, strong bridges to move people and ideas place to place, aqueducts to move water, and that enabled a lot of people to thrive because it was brought to you, and building designs that later inspired other societies. It's brilliant if you go to Rome and see the things that they were doing 2,000 years ago. So impressive. In architecture, large and strong buildings, columns, and open spaces, we still see those models used today. In art, realistic statues and lifelike portraits brought art to life. And in philosophy, improving people's lives, and Stoic philosophy that you should obey and commit your civic responsibility. Those things endure in our American society today as well. That's the Roman Empire. No 2 of those positives. Reasons for the fall: invasions from Germanic tribes, the expansion of slavery, the decline in civic duty and responsibility, moral decay, the decline of patriotism, and really probably spread themselves too thin in too many different cultural heritages where people weren't willing to go along, and it was too hard to enforce because they got too large. With the last one that we're going to talk about today is the Gupta Empire of India. So contributions, math, the concept of a zero, and decimals. And I know how much you guys love math, so that's phenomenal. In medicine, surgeries, herbal remedies, and setting broken bones. That's 5 things. I'd like you to bring too, and there's many, many more that we talked about in class that you might go over. And reasons for the fall of the Gupta Empire from the 3rd century to 543 Common Era. They couldn't centralize their government, too large an area to rule. People were not able to unite under the messages of the government. Because of decentralization, there were no Indian leaders to unify the subcontinent. And then warfare. The Huns invaded from the north, and because they weren't centralized, there were way too many vulnerabilities in the attack. So there you go. See how we summarize that very quickly in 6 minutes? That's a synopsis and a sumopsis, because that makes sense. You know what it means, right? Of what we did the last 2 class periods. And that moves us forward into understanding how more stable and longer lasting civilizations that created the modern era, it really sets the stage for where we are now without ignoring the things that happened before. This is Mr. Hauger from the Hauger History Podcast. Some of you have probably paused and replayed. If not, feel free to watch it again, and I look forward to hearing your responses in class. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section, or go to haugerhistory.podbean.com and get in touch with us there. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you back in class, students of mine. And if not, man, check out anything that you want to help you study, and good luck. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them as well. Thanks so much. Until the next time we speak, this is class dismissed. See you later.